Hi, my name is Alex, and I am from RequestRocket. It all started very simply. You just had a username and a password, and you could log into your Facebook account. But the bots came along, and they kind of ruined it for all of us. And so all of a sudden, you had to prove that you were a human. And not long after that, the hackers got to us. And so while we were already having fun with CAPTCHA, now we need to handle multi-factor authentication, and not only that, biometrics thrust upon us. And if you think your life was difficult, have a thought for all of the developers who have to figure out how their platform needs to talk to every other platform on the planet. In fact, there are more systems talking to systems today than there ever have been. Systems talking to systems, AIs talking to MCPs, MCPs talking to other systems. The list just goes on. And there's billions of differently authenticated transactions flying across the internet every single day. And if a few 100,000 of them just happen to go missing because of a broken endpoint or because of a token that's expired, well, or if someone leaves the business and takes an API key with them that has God mode access to every system, well, we have the makings of a security dumpster fire that can cost business, on average, $4.2 million for a breach, or even worse, can grind your business to a halt indefinitely. And the thing is, I've experienced this more times than I'd like to count. In fact, it's a problem that systems integrators, business analysts, software developers, and data engineers face daily, and this problem is getting bigger and bigger every single year. And I've experienced more than my fair share of pain in building integrations with different systems. In fact, it was because of this pain, because I was looking for a solution to the authentication problem, that we decided to build RequestRocket. You see, what the world needs is a universal API authentication proxy. Something that can translate the authentication of a target system into something that you not only desire, but need for the application that you're developing. And we built it. In fact, RequestRocket is a hyper-scalable, globally available API authentication proxy that allows you to do just that. Use any authentication that you desire in your BI pipelines, your data integrations, or integrating your system with other platforms. Here's how it works. You see, RequestRocket sits between your platform and a third-party system that you're trying to talk to. You send it your request with the authentication that you desire, and we, behind the scenes, not only translate that into an authentication that the target system needs, like OAuth2, JWTs, tokens, those kind of things. It just gets harder, right? But we handle that, and not only that, we also allow you to downscope those security credentials, improving the security of the target system that you're actually talking to, allowing you to provide credentials to individuals in your team and turn them off when they no longer need them. So with faster integrations, developers can take week-long onboarding and deliver them in days. In fact, with simpler integrations, we can build more integrations to different systems with less time. With improved security and observability around API calls, technology leaders, they're able to get greater control and observability over all of their entire API ecosystem. In fact, our global network, deployed in 6 continents already, provides developers low latency APIs anywhere they need them, ticking key data security, data sovereignty requirements that most customers have around where their integrations and data might flow. Our platform is enterprise ready. It is built on enterprise-grade security and helps customers to tick key SOC 2 and GDPR compliance requirements. In fact, compared to other platforms on the market, we're not only easier to use, but also more cost-effective. RequestRocket is also easily integrated within existing data flows, meaning we not only support legacy systems, but we can also support the platforms that operate in this space, the integration platforms themselves. And the feedback that we're getting with the platform is great. Developers love this. In fact, we invited developers into our platform in early access in April this year. And since then, we've onboarded 30 developers, and they've been providing us feedback ever since in a Discord community. In fact, through their feedback, we've identified a number of different use cases that we're bringing to market, not only in the real estate industry, where we have our platform helping a real estate a platform talk to their own AI backend, but also in SaaS deployment pipelines, finance, CFOs connecting to their data for monthly reporting using RequestRocket they couldn't previously connect to before. Now, we're on a journey to empower developers and AI systems to talk to each other easier than they ever have before. And we'd love to have you on that journey. In fact, for investors, we'd like to talk to you about our strategies for growth. For the developers in the room, we'd love you to join us in our platform, sign up to our Discord channel, and give us feedback on our pipeline as we go and build out more features for you. And for the CTOs and CIOs in the room, we'd like to talk to you about improving the security and the compliance of your business. Thank you.
Hi, Alex. Great pitch and quite a novel solution. I'm curious to know more about your ICP, so your ideal customer profile, who you consider to be kind of the lowest hanging fruit, who's experiencing the highest pain point in needing to solve this particular problem.
Yeah, we've identified a number of different use cases, and one of the, I guess, the initial feedback we got from the market was, well, it's a great platform, but I don't quite know where I can use it in my situation right now. And so where we're looking at in terms of the ideal customer is enterprise-grade, enterprise-level customers who are dealing with a lot of different APIs. Not only that, but BI developers who are trying to connect to different data sources within those larger and mid-scale enterprises where they're becoming data-driven organizations. Connecting to data is really hard. Once you have that connection, your life gets a lot easier. Not only that, SaaS companies who are looking to build integrations for their platform to other platforms, we simplify that. We can take something that would take 2 months to build and essentially deliver it within about 60 seconds.
Wow, awesome, thank you.
Yeah, I think similar on your go-to-market, right? Whether you talk about the ideal customer, or you're talking about how you get to those customers, are you thinking that's through a partnership model, like you said, with these different business intelligence platforms?
Sure.
Or are you thinking this is a build your own enterprise sales team to go drive that growth? How are you viewing that customer acquisition journey? Yeah,
there's three routes that we're currently taking. The bottom up is the developer ecosystem. We're actively involved in the developer community here in Brisbane, and we're essentially building out features that would make them delighted and happy with the platform. At the enterprise scale, yes, we're looking with through partners we have like MSPs to bring the product to market to larger organizations who are in that space and who are building integrations. And then in the third category, we have that BI side where we're actually working with, in fact, that CFO is a perfect example of a business application where we can provide them template Power BI report, kind of throwaway thing, but it connects to our platform. They can then onboard more and more of their own customers. So it's a channel sales, a partner channel to leverage, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your defensibility. So in terms of, some platform risk and some of, if there is, as you're building and growing, is there any chance of one end of it getting sort of locked out and preventing you from continuing to build or leapfrogging around you in terms of some of those incumbents?
Most of the incumbents in terms of the competitor landscape, there's already a lot of technical, you could call it legacy and technical debt in how they've actually constructed their platforms. I think we're quite unique in that the way that we've architected it as a serverless platform, globally scaled, is something that you have to have quite a niche set of skills in order to build something like that. But you also have to understand all of the problems of building integrations and have experienced that pain to do that. A lot of the platforms that you see, they're trying to solve the integration side of it. And where we see is that what none of them are doing really well is handling authentication, handling observability, and doing that in a way that's convenient for the customer. And so I think we have we play a specific role in an area which is underserved at the moment. It's a $9 billion market in the API landscape today. And we're just trying to capture a small part of that. But I think we're not going to see any of those larger competitors building what we've built. Yeah.
I might be exposing how much of a tech noob I am, if I've missed this, but as far as I understand it, accessibility and security sit at opposite ends often of a spectrum. And if you're suggesting that you're solving both of it, how are you doing so?
Yeah, so if you look at the classic problem that people have today around OAuth2, and it's incredibly complex for us to exchange a token and then have to refresh that. And there's a lot of responsibility on developers to build out quite a substantial amount of code, even just to talk to a simple platform like Xero. And everyone in the room might have a Xero account that they're managing their business with. But the fact is today, as a solid example for that, is if you want to get your Xero data into Power BI, you can't. You simply can't, because Power BI doesn't let you use OAuth2 as an authentication method. And so what it does do is let you use a different type of authentication and do that securely. And so by translating, we actually bridge the gap between a system that you can't talk to and now you can. And we can do that on demand anywhere around the world and manage that for you. And so there's a lot of different use cases like that where the security that you need is different to the security of this system that someone else built. And as we see the proliferation of AI in the market, we're going to see that happening more and more, where people are building AI tools, not just the tools like MCP servers, and they're all going to authenticate differently. So the amount of internet traffic that humans produce is going to be severely overwhelmed by the amount of system-to-system communications, and this problem is just going to get bigger.